welcome to LearnBytes, the show that delivers bite-sized pieces of wisdom so you can increase your efficiency and productivity, embrace your natural creativity, and lead with impact. I'm Samantha Garrett from Using Technology Better, and joining me today to share their wisdom is Kulari Lokuge. Welcome, Kulari.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us. I'm super excited to have you here. So,
thank you.
Kulari is a passionate educator, educational leader actually, and the director at the Knox Innovation, Opportunity and Sustainability Centre at the Swinburne University of Technology. That's a very impressive sounding centre, Kulari. I'm excited to hear more about what it is and what it does. So before we get into that, so Kulari is going to share her wisdom on leadership, which I'm very much looking forward to. But before we start that, Kulari, did you just want to share a little bit about yourself, maybe about KIOSC, so we can demystify what that is, and also what you're passionate about?
Yeah, thank you, Sam. KIOSC is a very interesting place. It has a lot of technology. It brings the local students from schools, secondary schools mainly, into the center to inspire them to use technology to solve, identify and solve. That's how I put it, identify and solve problems in the real world, which aligns to science, engineering, technology, and mathematics. So it's a building full of new tech. Very exciting.
Sounds super fun. And it is based in Melbourne. I didn't say that. So when lockdown is over, one day I'm going to have to come and see this exciting building full of tech. So what led you there, Chloe? Like, what are you passionate about? What led you to...
Actually, very interesting concept of, rather than individual school getting a little bit of money to do something, multiple schools come together to do big things. What led me there is starting, so I have worked in multiple levels of education in the education system, and this is starting at the right level, year 6, year 7, all the way up to year 12. That's the time you either make it or break it in the hearts and the minds of young children to take up these lovely opportunities that's around us across the world. So it's borderless studying, I would call it.
Yeah, excellent. And have you been in education your whole career? Is that like what drew you to education as a career, I guess?
I have been in education for most of my life, but my background is software engineering, and I started off as a systems engineer type of thing, but at the same time I got a teaching opportunity, and that is a very, there are different ways that you can give back. That's a very lovely way to give back. I always think it's not just one person. That person will deliver or communicate that to other people, and as a child I always looked up at my teachers, and so what a great thing that they're doing. But I never intended to become a teacher, but I love it at the moment.
That's a really lovely point, isn't it? It is just not affecting one person. It's that onwards thing into the community and the family. And yeah, that's lovely. Well, thanks for setting the scene for us. I'm excited to hear what you've got to say on leadership. So, as you know, bite-sized pieces of wisdom, which means we use a timer. So you've got 4 minutes. 8 questions. Are you ready to race the clock and see how we go?
Let's started.
And if you beat the clock, if we've got time left at the end, you can ask me a question. Or sometimes I just ask you more. We'll see how we go at the end. All right. So I'm going to pop it on. I'll click start and we will go. First mobile phone and current phone.
My first mobile phone was a Nokia. Right now I have an iPhone 8 and a Samsung S8.
Two. Ooh, impressive. Okay. What is the most important quality for every leader to have?
To have an optimistic and a clear, long vision, with which I think you empower the people, because you can have a vision and if there's no one to do it, then it's not right. Generally, as a leader, I think daily tasks can be challenging, sometimes frustrating, But if you kind of get over that frustration and look for the long view, keep a good eye on the long view or the end goal, with a positive attitude, you are building a strong group of people who will have that ripple impact on society. So as long as you have that view and you don't get too frustrated, you do get frustrated, but not too frustrated.
Yeah.
And you take your people with you, because you can't do it all by yourself. You have to have your people walking with you, understanding, having a good understanding about the whole thing.
What do you find most rewarding or most challenging about being a leader?
Most rewarding is having that impact on people's lives, changing that view about education, giving an education which always make a long-term impact on them itself, because that has, like I said earlier, a social impact, not just one person. It's a family, then maybe a small village, maybe a city. That's how we call it the world, right? You start it small with one person and it builds to a big world.
What's one thing you tell yourself when facing uncertainty?
Well, I think it's generally we haven't figured out the solution. It's somewhere there. It's just that look outside the box. You know, we sometimes say you can't plug a round into a square. I think you can, because you can cut half of it and you make one to be round over. So it's that optimism, look outside, go and collaborate with people, persevere, and all that is important. It's not just one thing. Yes, uncertainty, like the times that we're going through, but there are solutions, there are ways that you can make the best out of it.
Biggest leadership lesson learned so far?
Take your people on the journey while keeping an eye on the long view. That's my thing, because if you can be the best archer, you can be the best writer, best whoever, software engineer, but can I build a system by myself? If I don't bring my people on the journey, I'm a loner. So I need to, biggest lesson, I learned it through my mentors, through my previous directors, that win the hearts and the minds of people and bring them on the journey.
You've got 7 seconds. If there was one person you could spend an hour with, who would it be and why?
So I would call someone who is related to a spiritual thing. It could be Gandhi or Buddha, because they have done quite a lot of things in a very innocent way. That transformation is immense. That's something that I think is really important, to be there quietly, make the change.
Lovely. And you know what? We've run out of time, but I'm just going to, because this is my show, I can do whatever I like, right? So I want to ask the 7th question. I won't stretch the friendship with the viewers and go to full 8 because we have run out. But I really want to know your favorite book, video, or podcast that you'd recommend to others, because that's my favorite part of the show.
That's a hard question, to be honest, because I read widely and I'm a YouTube addict, I would call it. Every night I would watch something. So I read, most probably I have read all Robin Sharma's book, Stephen Covey's book, Dale Carnegie's book, Jack Canfield. My house is full of books.
That sounds awesome. Well, those authors, I will put all of them below and people can have a quick look at the different things that you think you'd recommend. And if there's a specific book too, people watching, we'll pop that in the notes. So, because that's where I get my reading list from. So I can't miss that question.
One thing I have to say, my last book that I read was the most recent one, Rules of Belonging by Fiona Robertson. That's a culture change. That's a very, very new book. So that's something that I read very recently, which is good.
Rules of belonging. Okay, lovely. We'll definitely pop that one in the notes. Awesome. Thank you. The time goes so quickly, doesn't it?
I know. It did.
I sort of looked and went, oh my gosh, I better give you a warning. And then I was like, oh, but she's midstream. But we got there. So that's awesome. So thank you. And I just want to reflect lots of really useful things you said. One of them was around taking people on the journey with you. And you used a particular phrase, but what the image that came to my mind was, as a leader, we often think of a leader and a follower, as in I would be walking behind the leader, but the term you used made me think of the leader and the people that they're working with walking together. Would you say that's an accurate interpretation, or did I get that wrong?
It's like take them on the journey is almost like there is no so the picture that I have is everybody, like, kindergarten kids, they all join their hands around and then they walk together. That's what I call it, walking, take them on the journey. It's not like, okay, come this way, turn that way. It's not that. You walk there with them, but you have a vision and you know where you're going. You're not going to put them into potholes and all sorts of things. You are walking. You have
you know where you're walking.
Exactly. So it's not like exactly. It's like that word leader, or you're guiding everyone, but you might get onto certain bumps and certain hills, but still you know that it can be something that you can do with them. So I think that's how I look at it.
Which probably also comes back to your thought around, I love that, fitting the round peg in the square hole, just cutting it. I was just like, that makes so much sense. Because you're right. And to me, that is it, like there's always a solution. And often what the solution is, we change something, like we cut that peg in half and we'll get it in that hole. So that is wisdom that people can take away from today, sure. Like think about how you can cut the peg, because it can probably go in the hole one way or another. Now it's always worth considering, should it go in the hole? Anyway, I still wanted to say I love that. So
oh dear me.
Thank you so much, Kulari. I really appreciate you sharing with us. And so to wrap up, where can people find you, or where can they find more about KIOSC if they're Melbourne-based and maybe they've got students that they want to bring down, if they're an educator, or where they can find you and connect with you?
So personally with me, I'm on LinkedIn. I look at LinkedIn connections, not every day, but like regular enough. In terms of KIOSC, yes, KIOSC has a website, kiosk.edu.au. That has a lot of the details about the programs. If it is a teacher who likes to run a program, at the moment we are running a lot of virtual sessions.
Oh, good. So that means
hands-on virtual.
Fantastic. So does that mean people from the rest of Australia could take, and New Zealand could take part as well, or is it still just Victoria based?
We can easily do Victoria because it's government funded. Victoria is all good. Rest of the country, yes, we can talk to them. We can, we can do after 2:30 or something like that. There are opportunities. I'm actually talking to Swinburne about because we have campuses across other countries. We are thinking how we can help each other.
Yeah, that's great. And I just totally put you on the spot with that completely unprepared question. But I do know we do have quite a few educators that watch the show, and I was just thinking like that might be something they're interested in. Because that's one thing I have found in my work is that the virtual environment that we're experiencing now opens up opportunities to so many more people, because we're not dependent on location. So lovely. So totally threw you off track, but we will definitely put all the details to that below. Wonderful. So thank you again, Kulari, for sharing your time with us.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
So there you go. If you have enjoyed the conversation that I've had today and you'd like to see more like this, be sure to subscribe to the Using Technology Better YouTube channel, or if you're listening to the podcast version, if you follow the show, then you'll get notified when we have new episodes available. Now, also every fortnight, I send out a friendly little hello via a newsletter. It's all about productivity, efficiency, and organization. So if there are things you want more of in your life, then you can sign up to the newsletter below and I will reach out to you very soon. All right, so we are done for today, but I will see you again soon for another bite-sized piece of the learning adventure that is life. See you then.